What's going on, everybody? It's Friday. We're here. Got my boy Dr. Dan with me. How you doing, Dan?
Morning. I'm vertical. Then we made it to Friday.
Hey, vertical is something to be thankful for, man. Somebody this morning didn't wake up vertical. Somebody woke up in a hospital bed. Somebody didn't wake up this morning, and we here. So thank God, right?
Amen.
So another week in the books. Going into Mother's Day weekend, guys. This is your reminder if you have forgotten. For moms, wives, make sure you remind the kids. You don't want to forget Mother's Day. I don't know about everybody else's moms and wives, but I have a really amazing mother, and I have a really amazing mother of my children. And they deserve to be celebrated. Amen.
Yeah. That's both of us. My wife is my one thing that keeps me going. And here's a little tip to you guys, though. If the mother of your children, is everything, don't give her a washing machine for Mother's Day. No.
That is really good advice. I was thinking, I've been looking at boats online a lot lately. I think I mentioned that last week. I've been looking at boats online. I was thinking my wife might need a boat for Mother's Day. A nice maybe like a bass boat or maybe like a pontoon boat. Heck, she might need a jet ski. I don't know. It reminds me, remember, did you watch The Simpsons like back in the day when The Simpsons first came out?
A little bit.
I remember I was a huge Simpsons fan, and there was a Simpsons episode where Homer was really into bowling, and he bought Marge a bowling ball for Christmas or her birthday or something. And instead of giving it to him and letting him use it, she doubled down on it and started going to the bowling alley and taking bowling lessons from this super hot, like romantic guy. I don't know why that popped in my head, but it's Friday, so we can talk about whatever we want, right? But yeah, good morning, friends. Good morning, Alliance community. Got my pre-workout in my Tech Circuit mug this morning. Already finished my coffee. Not running calls today. I am not running any calls today. I have a funeral service to go to today. And I have a meeting with my bookkeeper at 12. Have a bunch of stuff to get done, office stuff to get done. So I'm excited, man. My daughter has a yard sale, a fundraiser yard sale tomorrow that I've volunteered for. So we are going to load up all of our stuff that we don't need, which is a lot because we don't really need anything, and haul it all to this church tomorrow for a fundraiser for my daughter's volleyball team. I'm looking forward to that. And then we're headed to the lake. What are you guys doing this weekend, Dan?
Probably cleaning the shop. Still working, unfortunately. Our busy season hit us kind of broadside. So I've got a lot of stuff that I haven't been able to touch. And I've got I'm thinking about doing a video on that refrigerator that somebody put a screw into the high side, the gas loop, how to fix that when it's in a sealed cabinet, stuff like that.
Oh,
unfortunately, that's kind of what I'm stuck with. But yeah, it's kind of my therapy. Unfortunately, maybe I need to see somebody about that.
Hey man, whatever works, right? If it gets you through the week and it makes you happy, and it's not hurting nobody, then more power to you. Just make sure you spoil Mary, and that's the most important thing.
Oh yeah.
Our boy Adam couldn't be here this morning. He said hello to everybody. Good morning. He had some family stuff to do. Got my boy Andrew Soper in the house. Yeah, it does. This week flew by. I agree. Spinny Mathingy's in the house from Australia.
Australia.
Thank you for joining us, brother. I've always wanted to go to Australia.
Yeah.
Got Appliance Marketing Pros in the house, our very own Mike Carson. Good morning, sir. I've always wanted to go to Australia ever since I was a little kid. One of these days I'm going to make it there. But until then, I'll just live vicariously through Spinny Mathingy. But we're talking about doing what's right today. And really, that's our motto for every day, or that should be our motto for every day. But the theme this week is sales. And I know that for me and Miss Dr. Dan, I'm not big on sales. I'm not big on pushing people to fix their appliances or any of these sleazeball tactics that people use, or upselling and this, that, and the other. I'm into doing what's right. I am into whatever is best for that customer is what I want to do. So we're going to, and I think me and Dr. Dan, this is one area. There's a lot of areas because I feel like we're kindred spirits, but this is one area where me and you probably agree more than disagree as far as how to approach this. So I'm going to pray us up and we'll get right into this, man, because this is a good one. I think it's going to be a good discussion. Papa, thank you for this day and another night's sleep. I don't know about everybody else, but I slept really good last night, Lord. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the sleep. I appreciate my brother Dan and his family. And we lift up Adam and his family to you this morning. Thank you for my brother Doug for showing up last night, and my brother EJ for popping in to our community group and just sewing into other people's lives. I love this community so much, and I thank you for making it what it is. We give you all the glory for it, and help us just go out there and do what's right, not just on service calls, not just when we're out there doing our appliance repair, but just in life, Lord. Do right by people. It seems like such a easy thing to do. But there's so many distractions and there's so many things that can draw us away, and the love of money, the greed, and everything else that comes along with it. So help us to do what's right for our customers and do what's right to glorify you and be a light to this world. Bless this weekend, Lord. Be with all the moms out there. Be with all the grandmas. Be with all the single mothers, the ones that maybe don't have any help at home, that don't have a husband in the house helping out and pulling their weight. And Lord, we pray that you would help this country to bring those families back together and make family important again, and make family something that we value, and that the mom and dad being in the home is important to us, because the moms are important and the dads are important, and these children are important, Lord. So bless each family and help us to uphold those things and keep you present in our lives. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Oh, let's see here. Andrew Soper said, oof, I should start giving my wife tools. Yeah. Let me know how that works. Got my mi hermano Saul.
Marion told me one time that she told her mom that she knew I loved her because I bought her power tools.
There you go, man. Nothing like a nice Bosch impact drill or impacted drill set for Mother's Day. I mean, what more could a woman want? What more could a woman want? All right, Spinny Mathingy, I might have to take you up on that. If I ever go down under, you are going to be the one I hit up. I appreciate the invite, brother. Let's see here. Easy mantra. Treat your customer like you would want to be treated by a repair technician. 40 years experience tells me that.
Same here.
Sale meanings discount techniques, or sale meanings explaining value of cost? I would say sales meaning explaining the value and the cost of the repair, and letting the customer decide for themselves what they want to do.
Right.
I'm going to get into this, but I want to read this to you guys real quick. Quick verse for you. Galatians 6:7-9 from the King James Bible says, "Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." Now, obviously, this verse is talking about way more important things than selling an appliance repair. It's talking about your life and sowing to your flesh, and how our flesh and our spirit battle against each other. Our flesh is that side of us that always wants more, the greed, the lust, the everything else. But our spirit and God, and more importantly, God's spirit is in us, is what leads us to doing what's right. Doing what's right by our customers, doing what's right for our families, doing what's right for our community, doing what's right for our friends, so forth and so on. And I truly believe that we reap what we sow. You can call it karma, you can call it whatever you want, but I call it the reaping and sowing effect. And I want to sow good so that I can reap good. I want to sow positivity. I want to sow love. I want to sow the things that I know are right. And the blessings will come after it. I'm a firm believer that I don't have to sell anything. All I have to do is present the information and do what's right for my customer. And sometimes that means, many times, Dr. Dan, that means I'm not making as much money on that call.
Yep.
Many times that means, Miss Johnson, unfortunately, your spider support in the back of your front load washer is busted. And your bearing shot, it's just not worth fixing. And I collect my $99, and Miss Johnson gets educated on what she should do. Miss Johnson gets educated on what she should go by when she does it. And Miss Johnson gets educated why that's not a good repair for her. And I think that goes a long way in your business, just doing what's right and going out there and treating customers right.
Well, and I have a kind of a little bit more to it. What the customer's asking for, because they don't know, they're not the expert. They don't know why it's making that noise. They don't know and they don't know if the machine is worth fixing. That's why they want you there, is to look at it from top to bottom, not to sell them anything, but to give them the information. Now, what I'll do in that situation a lot of times is I will say, okay, I can go ahead and replace this basket and you'll still have a match set and yada, yada, yada. But, you're going to be spending about $1,400 getting this thing fixed. You could buy a couple of washers for that. And then I've got a relationship with other dealers, with appliance dealers that I trust, that I know will take care of this customer. And I'll say, go talk to my buddy Andrew at North Alabama Appliance. He does the ding and dent. He'll save you a bunch of money. Go see the guys at Giles County Furniture, whatever. Again, that's giving the customer the added value for the $125 we charge. Sometimes when I used to sell, we would take part of that towards the purchase of another machine. Again, that just gives that added value. I do things like we'll give you an extra year's warranty for half of the service call. Just again, working with the customer instead of just trying to make the sale. Hey, I know this machine's I'm gonna be able to milk the. I know guys who believe that being able to milk a machine for a year or two is, that's cash in my pocket. Well, yeah, but you're a slime ball. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So anyway.
And here's my thing. I gotta sleep at night. And when I lay my head on that pillow every night, I cannot sleep well if I knew I did Miss Johnson wrong. I cannot sleep well if I know that I did my customer dirty. Things like that bother me, man. You know, call it your conscience, call it conviction, call it whatever you want to call it. But like, I just believe that, you know, in life, we are to treat others the way we want to be treated. You know, I think who said it? I think it might have been Spinny My Thingy, actually.
Treat your
Yeah,
customers like you would.
treat your customer the way you want to be treated by a technician. And I think I said this last week, but treat your customers the way you would want someone to treat your mom. You know, it's Mother's Day this weekend. When you go in there and you're dealing with that customer, how would you want a technician to treat your mother? How would you want a technician to treat your grandmother? Would you want a technician to go in there and sell her on a repair that's really not good? At the end of the day, Dan, all I want is my customer taken care of. I want my customer taken care of, and I want whatever is best for them. That's why I feel no pressure sales is the way to go. I tell every single customer, because I see it every day. You go in there, you let Ms. Johnson know, Ms. Johnson, unfortunately, you know, you got a bad such and such. It's going to be $475. Oh my gosh, a new dishwasher is only, you know, $500 or $600. And I tell them, I said, Ms. Johnson, you don't have to make a decision right now. I said, I'm gonna put all the information in your job. I said, I'm gonna have the part number in there. I'm gonna have the total in there. The $99 you pay me today will go towards your repair. So that $475 will be $376 if you repair it. And I said, I want you to take your time and decide what's right for your family. I said, shop around. I said, if you're going to replace this dishwasher, I highly recommend getting a Bosch. Bosch is what we recommend. And I go take her through, and I ease that tension by just letting her know, hey, you don't have to decide right now. This isn't the end of the world. You know, it's not. If you don't wash dishes today in this dishwasher, you can wash them in the sink. Talk to your husband, you know, talk to the family, see what's best for you. And then let me know, let us know, let Richmond Appliance guys know what your decision is. And we'll work with you the best we can to get whatever it is done. Whether it's a new dishwasher, we'll recommend you to who we know. Like Dr. Dan said, you better have a network. And that's the way I do it. And that's not everybody's approach. I know guys that are much more high pressure. They're in there and they're, you know, putting on the salesman cap. And if that's you, do you, boo-boo. I don't care what you do. All I do is what works for me. And at the end of the day, that customer, when you treat them that way, they're going to call you back. They're going to tell their friends about you. And it's a snowball effect, because you literally start to reap what you sow, because you're sowing positivity into that customer. And they're like, man, that guy was no pressure at all. And I'll straight up tell my customer, hey, there's no pressure here. Would I like for you to fix the appliance? I think it's a good repair. I think this is a good unit. I'll give them my honest opinion. And if it's not, if I go out and it's a newer Whirlpool machine, most likely I'm not going to recommend you fix it, because it's a piece of freaking junk, and you're going to have problems with it. Which I don't say piece of freaking junk, obviously. That would be very professional.
Yeah, you just lay it out to them and say, hey, this is what's going on, and this is what I see may happen down the road. You know, other parts, things like that. I usually will sell. I will usually do a repair as a package. If I see on a direct drive that the bearings on the motor is looking pretty bad, and I'm seeing some oil coming out of the transmission, I'm going to let them know flat out, okay, well, I can replace this pump that's leaking, but here's the other things we're seeing. That way they get, again, an informed decision. And then they'll say, well, do you want to buy, what kind of machine do you recommend? Yada, yada, yada. I'm very testy about telling somebody that they bought junk, especially when they've got, like yesterday, I had a 3-month-old Whirlpool that the agitator came out with the agitator shaft, so I had to put a new transmission in. 3 months.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, and sorry, I can't read and talk at the same time.
You're good, bud. We cannot confuse sales as an exchange for money. Instead, look at selling value, relationship building, solution, and consultative selling. These are just building blocks. I love that. They are building blocks. And, you know, I tell every technician that's ever worked for me, we're there to guide the customer along in their decision-making process. And, you know, I talk a lot on here about
Uh-oh. I think we may be locked up. What is going on here? Okay, looks like TK's power just went out. He's saying, so you stuck with me. I'm new to the system, so come on. Hey, Zach.
How's it going?
Hey, buddy. I don't know if I'm still alive or not.
You're up there. I don't know what happened in TK. I was just
He lost power.
Oh no.
Yeah. I just got a text from him. He said my power just went out.
Oh geez.
I thought it was my system.
Well, I don't know what you guys were talking about. I was just uploading a video for you.
Well, we were talking about sales, basically. That there's basically two different outlooks on it. I mean, you know the guys that I just like I do, the ones who'll sell the customer everything, including their own socks.
Yeah.
Just so that they can make the sale. And then there's, you know, the professional way of doing it, saying, hey, here's where your problems are. This is what it's going to cost, that type of thing. So, and getting some really good information here from the guys in the text. You got Saul and Adam and Andrew, and just they're giving out some real good input.
Yeah.
Sorry, this has totally caught me off guard. So.
It's all good, man. It's all good. It's all good. So you've had a store as well as doing sales or repair, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've kind of been through all aspects of it, just like Adam and TK, really, and me. We've all kind of done it. So,
yeah, the biggest problem I always see with guys getting into stores now, and that I'm considering going back into doing a store, is that initial outlay, and all of a sudden you've got all this money that you've poured out, so now you're wanting to hurry up and make that back. So it's kind of a driving thing to get people to spend more money and to sell more. So you kind of have to watch yourself.
Right. Yeah, one of the best pieces of advice: start slow. Start with some scratch and dent stuff. I know we've had Scott Berger on a couple times, and he deals in the scratch and dent stuff, right? So that anytime you can do that used or that scratch and dent, if you're trying to do a store, it's a good way to kind of get your foot in there and get that cash flowing.
Another thing that I found was being teamed up with other dealers and being able to basically use their delivery system, their stock, and all that, and you're either going to be getting a commission for doing that sale for them, or a referral fee, something like that. Just kind of getting your toe in the water.
Right. Yeah, I did that with the new use and scratch and dent place. I mean, we had a pretty good rhythm. I was in a lot of houses, and they would do it for contractor pricing, right? So I'd be able to sell the dishwasher, or the microwave, or whatever I was working on through Bart and Carol's, and it worked out pretty well. That is another good way to kind of team up with someone. Maybe they don't go that far out like you do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing is identifying the need for the customer. I think actually paying attention, like Shannon and I were talking about, what's that actual issue that you're looking to solve for the customer. So
exactly. Oh,
TK came back and then he disappeared. Let's see if he's
My bad. My power went out.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
oh,
No bueno. No bueno.
Were you like
Well,
you were like ready though, Zach? You like appeared out of nowhere. That was a perfect timing.
Well, I guess me not getting that video done for the outro last night was a good thing.
There you go.
I was just getting that uploaded for you guys, so we got that new outro. So
yeah, I wasn't sure what was going on.
Well,
Yeah,
I've been having some.
I'll let you guys finish it out. I got to go open up a building for a networking group. So,
all right, thanks, buddy. I appreciate
you. Well, my
you.
friend.
Yep, catch you on the flip side.
Yeah, that was we had a big storm last night, and we lost power last night, but like it's perfectly clear now. I guess maybe I don't know why we lost power, but it was just a little quick blip. Sorry about that, everybody. What does Saul say? The street lights went out. I think there's too many beers. Well, thank you, Zach, for saving the day. I want to hit on this for a second because this is something that I can speak from experience. Stores can be really good. And I know, I always joke and tell people don't open a store. But one of the things that I loved about, really one of the only things that I loved about having the store was the fact that we could take care of that customer no matter what. Yeah. It was by far the number one reason I started a store, was because I wanted to be able to take care of that customer. Because in my mind and in the way I think things and the way I do business, is my end goal, no matter what it looks like, is taking care of the customer and doing what's right by the customer. That's what I've built my business off of. That's what Austin taught me from day one. Take care of the customer. Do what's right. And we built our business off of that. And I always hated not being able to supply that customer with an appliance at the end. Even though I have networks and I have a used appliance guy and I have a scratch and dent company I refer, and I have, local mom and pop places that I recommend, I always wanted to be able to fill that void at the end of that unit when I condemn the unit, tell them they need a new one. And that was the driving force behind us starting a store. So you're absolutely right. But the second part of this is what I want to touch on. It comes with a lot of new problems. If you're out there doing sales and doing service and you're killing it in service, or you're doing good in service, my suggestion is don't even think about starting a store until your service department is so freaking tight that you could walk away from it and not have to touch them. Everything's going great. And then you can add that piece on if you want the extra headaches. The big question that it boils down to for me is do you want the headaches of running a store? Because there's a lot of moving pieces. And there's a lot of new issues and new problems and new opportunities that come with running a store. And me, I have 100% decided that it is not worth it for us. It is not worth it for us. We hook up our property managers with microwaves and dishwashers, and we've got a guy that takes care of that stuff for us, and we make a little extra money doing those things. What's your thoughts, Dan? You've had a store. You're thinking about doing a store again. What do you think?
Well, like you say, that it comes with its own set of problems. It worked really well for us that our servicers were also capable of handling the sale. We had it streamlined to where if you called me in the morning, we either had the machine fixed by that afternoon or the next day, or we had you another machine on the way. I mean, they just boom. Especially in Phoenix, having your refrigerator down, they want it now, and that worked really well. But there's the side of, okay, do you get a lazy technician? One who says, I really don't feel like working on this thing. Yeah, she's got a bad fan. Yeah, she needs a new refrigerator. And they know they're getting a commission, plus there's the delivery and all that. So it's a fine line that you've got to have people that you can really trust. I've had guys who, we can get you another one, and then they'll steal the installation, or they'll steal the sale. So there's a lot of things you have to watch. Delivery guys not using floor mats when they're putting the machine in, scratching the floor. There's just so much, but yet the delivery guys were make good apprentices. They're bringing back the used stuff. You already know what's wrong with the used. If it's worth scrapping or worth keeping or scrapping or what. So, like I said, it's a teetering point. Basically wasn't going to get into it at all because of the big box stores. And I don't know about everybody out there, but around us, most of the dealers will not fix anything that they don't sell. They just won't touch it. And I think part of that is because of the shorting of labor. But more and more people are starting to go back to the idea of, where do I go that I can get someone to not, if something goes wrong with it, because they know that the new machines are not made like the old ones. So if something goes wrong with it, who am I going to buy the new one from that is going to take care of me after the sale? Because bottom line, whether you're doing just service or you're doing sales or combination therein, the customer wants to be taken care of. They want to know down the road what's going to happen. Okay, you're going to put a new sump in that dishwasher. It's going to be like a brand new one. Great. What's going to happen if the timer goes out? If something happens with this dishwasher later, are you still going to be around? Are you going to take care of me?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my 2 bits on it.
And that's what I love. And that's why I say we're kindred spirits, Dan, because your goal and what you base your business around is always taking care of the customer. I've learned that about you. You'll bend over freaking backwards to take care of that customer. And sometimes let's just keep it real, and then we'll hit on Saul. You guys read Saul's comment right here and drop your answer in the comments, because we're going to talk about this. Thank you for this comment, Saul, because I love engaging comments like this. But it's all about taking care of that customer for you. And that's what I love about guys like you and guys like my partner Austin, and guys like so many out there. Andrew Soper. Like when I did my interview with Andrew, you can tell he's out there to take care of his customer. He's a big customer education guy and guiding his customer. Which, by the way, we got our podcast going on Spotify again, dropping the Andrew Soper podcast on Spotify this weekend. So get ready for that. If you're not on Spotify, get on Spotify so you can listen to Appliance Alliance podcast. But this is a good one, Saul. I like this because he said, guys, if you had a magic wand and you can use it for whatever you want in your business, what would you use it for? That's a really freaking good question, because I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm thinking things are popping in my head like the perfect technician. 15 perfect technicians. But that's the first thing that popped in my head. But do I really want, even if they're perfect, do I want 15 of them? Or would I rather have maybe 6? Or would I maybe want 4? Like it's an exercise, he says, because the episode is live, guys. I was wrong. It is live. I just need to promote it. What do you think, Dan? What would you do? The genie shows up and you have one wish in your business.
I wish they wouldn't have given me the wish. I'd do it along the same route. Of course, right now I'm thinking about the lady who, after we get done here, wants me to be at her house at 8:00 this morning, and one of those entitled type of customers. More text. But like you say, with more text comes more headache. They've got their own little issues, because it seems like when you have employees, it's just like having family. There's going to be issues.
Yeah.
I think having someone actually be able to point out. Sorry.
Yeah, all right, bud.
I had somebody. Well, that is a tough one.
It is a tough one, because you only get one thing.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Can we only do one thing, Sal, or can I get multiple wand wishes? Because if I can get multiple, I'm gonna do. All right. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do 5 perfect technicians. I'm gonna do a perfect CSR. But then you think about it, man. You think about it like and I know this sounds crazy, but sometimes the problems and the challenges are part of the fun. I know that sounds crazy to me, but if I woke up tomorrow with the ideal dream, perfect company, and I had everything laid out for me, what fun is that, man? This part of what I'm enjoying about being an entrepreneur and being a business owner and doing the things that I do is the journey of failing and making mistakes and doing all these different things and trying this and it doesn't work, and then try this and it does work. Life is all about the journey and enjoying the process of learning and growing. If I had it all perfect tomorrow, or if I could wave a magic wand and have those 5 perfect techs, then I wouldn't have the journey of training those guys and going on the ride-alongs with them and fellowshipping with them and talking to them and learning all about them and establishing that relationship with them and all those different things. So I don't know, man. That's a really tough question. You guys drop your answers in the comments, because we want to hear what you guys, when I put my hand up at like laser, this fancy camera Zach got me. When I put my hand up, it like laser focuses on my hairy ass arm. That's what happens when you get fancy cameras. Oh, this is a good answer, Zach.
That was Zach, yeah.
Having leadership figured out 100%. Most problems come from areas that I fall short in leadership. That's a really freaking good answer. Yeah, fix me. Yeah, fix me, Lord.
Yeah.
Forget the technicians, forget all that stuff. Fix me. Because at the end of the day, your leadership is everything. How you lead and how you do things. That's a great answer, Zach.
Then again, bottom line is to make those good leaders is to have those problems. I mean, let's face
Facts.
it, it's like the iron sharpening iron thing. You're going to have some grinding going on. There's going to, you have these problems, and it's going to point out where you're falling short and what you need to work on. And a lot of times it's real hard to look in the mirror and go, Dan, you screwed up.
Yeah.
And just that just makes you a stronger leader.
Adam said time. Adam, the problem is not, and I'll tell you this from experience, the problem is not that you need more time. The problem is we don't as we talked last week, we don't manage our time well. And it's coming from some, and I'm not talking to you specifically, I'm talking in generalization, but from the time I am a horrible time manager, but I have become so much better at it in the last few years because I realized, and I hate to repeat myself from last week, I realized that time is the one thing I cannot get back. Oh, look, my boy Mike giving me compliments. TK is night and day smarter in the 4 years I've known him. And you know why that is, Mike? And I'm not saying, I'm not sitting here saying I'm Mr. Everybody knows me. I am not the smartest fella. I'm not the sharpest tack in the drawer. I'm not the sharpest the sharpest tool in the shed. But I've learned so much from my failures. I've learned so much through that journey that if I waved a magic wand and made everything perfect, I wouldn't have learned. And I think that's a lot of the time, guys, when we're out here and we're feeling burnt out and we're feeling like, man, this is tough, man. Like I keep failing. I keep messing up. As long as you are learning and you are growing and you are making better decisions moving forward, that's priceless. That's priceless. And the biggest thing that I want to say when it comes to doing what's right for your customer, focus on making your customer happy above making money. That's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned. Doing what it takes to make that customer happy, within reason. I will say this: you do not want to let these customers walk all over you. And we had to learn that the hard way. And I think the biggest lesson that I learned, that's something on the side of my face. I learned this lesson really with the property managers. We allowed property managers to walk all over us for years. I did it. Austin did it. And it took wisdom from one of my team members to make us realize the mistakes we were making. It was Beth that did it for us. And I know I brag about Beth a lot, but I love that woman. She is just a good person. And she said something to me one time. She said it to me and Austin. She said, "You guys are just nice to a fault." She said, "You guys are allowing these property managers to take advantage of you." And she's like, "We have to stop it because you're losing money hand over fist doing it." And it really resonated with me because she truly cares about our company. She is just one of those people, like you always say, you're never going to find anyone that cares about your company as much as you. Bullshit. This woman 100% cares about my company as much as I do. And sometimes I feel like she cares about it. She does a better job than I do because she's just a good person. But she said, "You guys are nice to a fault. No matter what happens, you just want to make it right. And sometimes you just have to say no." And that was a huge revelation to me. I was like, you're exactly right. So we started to put policies in place. Your policies will protect you from customers that want to take advantage of you and walk all over you. Unfortunately, our policy is if you don't pay within 30 days, you get a $25 late fee. Unfortunately, Ms. Johnson, our policy is we don't install customer purchased parts. So we started to put all these policies in place within our company to protect us from these customers that we know it's a situation where we're going to get into something that we don't want to get into, putting on parts that we didn't order, putting on used parts. We've had property managers where they had a building and they had multiple units that had all the same appliances in it, and they wanted us to take parts out of another appliance and put them on the appliance that they had. I'm not doing that. You know why? Because I got burnt doing it 4 or 5 times before. So as you're learning these lessons, your policies, your procedures, your SOPs, the things that you're training your team and your CSR and your technicians and your service managers to do need to reflect what you've learned during these times of failure and stresses and problems. One of the things that I always do, bless you. One of the things that I always do is anytime a problem arises, is I say, what can we do to not run into this problem again? What can we do as a company? I know Ms. Johnson did this, and I know this property manager did that, but what can Richmond Appliance guys do? What policy can we put in place? What SOP can we start using? What procedures can we put in place in our company to circumvent this from happening again? And that's the mindset that I have when problems arise. Not, oh, crap, this sucks. Oh, man, I lost $500. All right, we lost $500. Let's not do it again. Because it sucks to lose money, right? It sucks when you lose money in business. But you know what sucks even more?
You also look at that as you're investing in your education. That $500 is you just invested in your education. Don't waste it.
Don't waste it, and don't do it again. Don't keep doing the same stupid crap you did. Learn and put some policies in place. If you're a one-man show and you're out there doing great and knocking it out, when those things happen, make changes in your business. Make policies so that money loss doesn't happen again. So that issue doesn't happen again. And if there's nothing you can do to circumvent it from happening again, then you're good to go. Just keep rocking and rolling. Do your best. But if there's a policy that can be put in place, put that policy in place to make your business, because the only time it's a true failure is when you fail to learn and adapt and make your business better because of it.
Well, and again, that's where having mentors or people around you, having your circle around you, and you can talk with them. Oh man, this just happened with Mrs. Johnson. I'm not sure I can, put up with this again. I don't know what to do about it. Hey, I've seen this before. I've had this happen to me. What I would do is this, and this, and have those people hold you accountable. Because learning a new, putting in an SOP is just like learning a new procedure or whatever, a new thing that you're going to do. And well, now, I'm going to bend the rule here for Mr. Jones. Well, you bend the rule for Mr. Jones. Guess what? You're going to get that again. You want to spend another $500? you know? So, but you got to have somebody that's going to, sometimes give you that super atomic dope slap and say, dude, you should know better.
Yeah.
Well,
and a good CSR is worth their weight in gold.
Absolutely.
I mean, I call Beth the gatekeeper because she protects us. She protects our company. She calls me sometimes on a daily basis and says, hey, TK, I just want to let you know that I just turned down so-and-so because he wanted to, he wanted you to come out there and use his own part, and he yada, yada, yada. She protects us. And she protects us because we have regular meetings and we go over the problems that we're facing and we put policies in place and we talk about it as a team. Doing what's right is easier when it's just you and you're the one man show. But that's the time to get those policies in place and get them documented and get them strategized for your company, so that once you start adding that CSR and once you start adding that technician, you can train them, and then they know how to handle it when it comes on their plate. But we're gonna wrap this thing. Oh, go ahead.
I say, once you have that person trained up, or that person that you know is making good decisions, yeah, have them go through you and everything, but let them know and make sure they understand you got their back.
Yeah.
You know, if they say, I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to do that for you. You know, this is what our rules are. This is what our systems are, or what our procedures are. And then that customer comes to you, and of course he's going to bend it, and he's going to come up, well, they were rude to me and all this kind of crap. Don't come down on that CSR. Find out the truth, because you know that person is one that you're giving the reins, and if they know you got their back, they're going to protect you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that when your policies, procedures, SOPs, whatever you have are in place, it takes so much of the burden off of you, off of your team. I tell customers all the time, unfortunately, our policy is this. So you don't even have to be the bad guy. And you know what? If they do not want to conform to your policies and the way you run your business, go find someone else. Go out there. I fired a property manager a week or so ago, and I straight up told her, "You're not a good fit for our company." I said, we appreciate you using it, and we've done work for this woman for probably 10 to 12 years. Before I was doing appliance repair, Austin was doing work for this woman, and she's been a problem almost the entire time. Just entitled, and we have to hunt her down for money, and time again, we gave her chance after chance after chance. And then finally I said, all right, enough is enough. And I fired her. I did it very professionally. I did it very kindly. And I just told her, look, you're not a good fit for us. Unfortunately, our policy is you need to pay us within 30 days, because she was mad because she had 2 service calls. She owed us like $700 and some for a couple calls. And I told her straight up, like, unfortunately, our policy is you have to pay us within 30 days. And she's like, well, can't you just run these 2 calls and I'll pay you all of them? I said, nope. I said, we're not going to run the 2 calls. And I said, as a matter of fact, man, we're not going to run any more calls for you. She's like, so you're not doing my work anymore? I've been using you for years. I said, yes, ma'am, we're not doing your work anymore. I said, you need to go find someone else. I said, no hard feelings. I said, but we're just not a good fit for one another. And she said, okay, that's fine. And I don't have any ill will towards her. I hope she does great in her property, real estate, whatever else she does. But at the end of the day, I got to look out for my team. I have people that are relying on Richmond Appliance guys to pay their bills. So if Miss Johnson isn't paying, poor Miss Johnson, man, when Miss Johnson watches this podcast, she's going to feel real bad, because all we do is talk bad about her. Shout out to Miss Johnson. We appreciate you, Miss Johnson. Keep doing good things out there. But y'all get what we're saying. Just do what's right. When you go out there and you're ripping and running, and you're trying to make every penny and make every dollar and squeeze every dollar out, it gets exhausting. But you know what? We were talking recently about what makes you passionate. And the very first thing that I said, and I know Dr. Dan will echo this, the very first thing that I said was helping people. Yep. I am passionate about helping people. Dr. Dan is passionate about helping people, whether that means helping the customer in the house with their appliance repair, whether that means helping a young person learn a trade, whether that means helping a family with a job that will provide for them and their children and their wife or their husband, whatever it is. I just want to help people. I just want to love God and love people. And I thank God, Father, thank you that you've put me in a position where I can actually do that and provide an income for my family. Amen.
Mhm.
So you guys have a
Amen.
blessed weekend. As always, we will be back next week with new Morning Grind episodes. If you have not put our next mastermind on your calendar, it is May 17th. We're going to be talking about sales. All this is leading up to the mastermind. If you haven't noticed a reoccurring theme, we are kind of using our themes each week to build up to our masterminds for the Super Bowl of each topic. And we're talking sales. And when we do this sales mastermind, we want you guys to come and we want you to interact and we want you to be a part of it. We did a property management one last month, and it was one of the best masterminds I've been a part of. And it wasn't because of TK. It was because so many guys and gals showed up and they interacted with us. And that's what we want from these masterminds. So put it on your calendar. If you're not a all access member at servicealliancegroup.com, head over there. We've got a lot of big stuff coming down the pipe with Service Alliance Group. So shout out to the Alliance community as a whole. And especially shout out to Zach and Mike. Those guys do a lot of work behind the scenes. You guys see me come on and do videos and do this and that and the other. I am neither the brains nor the muscle of this Service Alliance Group thing. It is 100% Zach and Mike. They are behind the scenes. But the bigger part of it is you guys, and we couldn't do it without the community. So we thank you guys for being a part of it. We thank you for being in the Facebook group and helping the newer technicians and answering the questions. And I'm just so thankful each day for guys like Dr. Dan and for guys like Andrew Soper and Saul and all these other guys that are just here to help. Mike Muscarella. I look forward to that. I get to meet Mike Muscarella. I don't know how to say his last name, but every single freaking post in that Facebook group, that man is in there talking. He just loves talking appliances. He's passionate about it.
Yep.
And I just dropped his name because it was the first one that popped in my head. But there's so many like him in the community, and we appreciate you guys. Well, Dr. Dan, you have a great weekend, sir. Make sure you spoil Marion this weekend. And I
hope she didn't hear that.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm gonna make sure I message her on Facebook and say make sure Dr. Dan spoils you. She's probably gonna.
Yeah, you got my back. I see that now.
She's probably gonna get a new set of torches for Mother's Day or something, right?
There you go.
Or
Exactly.
a new Sale 800 Klein meter. No, do not give your wife or your mother a new meter. She does not want that. Get her something nice. Get her something she wants. Take some time to celebrate your mom or the mother of your children this weekend. We'll be back with more Morning Grind episodes next week. Love you guys, and we will see you later. Peace.
You guys.
Thanks for tuning in to the Morning Grind podcast by Service Alliance Group. Subscribe to our channel and make sure you visit our website at servicealliancegroup.com for appliance repair business resources.